Hi everyone and welcome to the French Watch Collector. Today on the bench we have a very special vintage watch that I'm going to restore. Actually you can see it's a Rolex Oyster Precision. You will see what I mean by precision. We're gonna check first. Looks like the watch is working. It's quite an old watch. It's probably end of the 50s, beginning of the 60s. So it's quite a vintage Rolex watch. I'm winding there, and actually I keep on winding and never stop winding. So there is something wrong there because this is a manual caliber. You will see it's not an automatic caliber. So I'm rescrewing the crown there on the watch, and you see the case is not in fantastic shape. And actually, I did a poll on YouTube. And if you're not a subscriber of the channel, you can subscribe and you will see some of the polls that I do on YouTube sometime. And I asked people if they wanted me to leave it as it is or to do a full service and restoration as well, which include polishing the case and redo the bracelet. And you all choose, like by a lot actually, 75% of the people choose to polish this watch and redo the bracelet. So what we're gonna do in this video, we're gonna do the service on the watch obviously, but as well we're gonna refinish the case and try to restore the bracelet as well. And actually the bracelet is quite special. I tried to look some information online, but probably like people watching these videos, there is some Rolex experts that can put some comment down below the video telling me a bit more about this this bracelet. Yeah, because it looks like it was made in the USA. It's kind of a special Rolex bracelet. Yeah, you can have a look. And if you know a bit more about it, yeah, you can put some comment down below. We see the reference there of the watch, 6427. And you see the watch, the amplitude is actually not too bad for old watch, 241. It's gaining like between 10 and 8 seconds a day. The beat error is below 1. So it's okay on this type of watch. It's not running too bad, but yeah. As I bought this watch, and actually this one will be for sale on my website, I'm going to redo everything and reservice the watch properly. So first I'm going to open it with this custom tool from Orotech. Fantastic tool from Orotech, and I will put a link down below as well if you want to buy this tool to open watches. And you see that the Rolex, they have a special case back, and you need special tool as well to open them. Very easy to open on a Rolex when you have the proper tools, and you have no risk of damaging your case back as well. I love this design. Okay, so let's see what we can find inside now. Just go ahead. Whoa, look at it. Like, we can see there again, like the case is 6426. That's different. Same family. And you see there you have a running centisecond, like with this big wheel with a spring on top, you see there. That's an old movement from Rolex, 17 joules. Beating nicely actually, and the balance wheel looks very nice with this gold color. And you see it's an automatic, you don't have manual, sorry, not an automatic. You don't have like the big rotor on top, like the oscillating weight. And yeah, this is actually one of the last type of movement from Rolex, which is fully manual. Obviously, after they moved, then all the range now is automatic watches. And yeah, for a long time actually they produce only automatic watches and not manual watches anymore, which is a shame because actually manual watches have a certain charm. I found like every day or every couple of days you need to interact with your watch and rewind it, which on automatic watch obviously you don't need to, because yeah, it will reload the mainspring with the movement of your wrist. Yeah, but on a manual obviously you will have to wind the crown and fully wind it. And again, this one we saw we had an issue, like it never stopped wind. So that's not normal on a manual watch. So we need to see what's wrong with that, yeah. Okay, I managed to get the dial, and you see the dial, tiny bit of pitting on it, but it's not too bad, and actually it looks quite nice. The loom as well has a nice color, and the color is the same on the end and on the dial, so it means that it was not reloomed at any time. It's the same kind of a creamy color that you have on the hand and on the hour marker there. Okay, I'm just gonna realign the hands, and I'm just gonna cover and protect the dial while I use my Presto tool to remove the 3 hand there. Perfect. Okay, just store them away safely. And we're gonna remove the dial. You see the Rolex crown as well with the Rolex sign on it. Just gonna lift it up there. Perfect. I'm just gonna keep it in this special box there. It stays suspended and it will not move. Okay, so we're gonna start the disassembly of the caliber. So like I said, we're gonna do a full service, which means disassemble each single parts from this movement, just to clean them after, to remove the old grease and oil which is dried on it, because I don't know when the last time this watch was serviced. Remove the cannon pinion here. You see like the small second like turning. Removing the power now from the mainspring very gently. There we go. Now you see like the balance is coming to a stop. That's it. There is no more power in a watch. So when the power is gone, we can disassemble it safely, not running the risk of damaging any parts. Obviously, if there is power still in the movement, you have strength between the parts and you run the risk of damaging the parts. So that's why you remove the power before you do anything on the caliber. Removing the balance. And you see underneath like the number 1215, which is actually 1210 caliber and not 1215, because 1215 is one with the date and this one obviously has no date. But they were engraving the same on all the base caliber. So quite an old movement and simple movement from Rolex, obviously, but a very historical movement because, yeah, like I said, it's one of the last manual wind movement from Rolex. And obviously, it's nice to have a manual Rolex in your collection because obviously now it's more automatic Rolex than manuals. They will start to become very rare. I remove the spring there, so now we can remove this central pinion there for the second hand. And you see with this tool, this Presto tool there, gonna remove the wheel with an uneven amount of spokes you see on a wheel. So one grab around the spoke and the other one, and we push it up. Perfect. Because this wheel is friction mounted, you see on an extended pivot there. Okay, we carry on the disassembly now. Removing the ratchet wheel. The click. And the movement looks like in good condition as well. Not too much marks, not too dirty. Obviously, this is a Rolex, so it's it's well sealed. Like even for the age, this, like I said, this is not a very new Rolex, but like even like in this era, they were making like proper case, which was fully sealed, and obviously it helped maintain the caliber and the watch in a better shape. Removing the crown wheel here. Okay, there's a few parts there. We'll have to, take apart just to make sure they're clean very nicely. Removing the last screw here. Checking the play, and actually it doesn't look too bad. Like there is not too much play, a tiny bit, then check is okay as well. So I don't need to reduce the hole, it looks good. And I have to say, even this old Rolex movement, they look solid, yeah. Like obviously like the modern one, cannot explain, but when you work on a Rolex movement, you feel that checking the check there is a bit more because I removed the cannon pinion, checking on the other wheels as well. But yeah, on a Rolex movement, like it's very difficult to explain, but you see when you work on a movement, on a Rolex movement, you feel like, especially on a modern one, you feel the weight of the parts you feel like everything, you feel very solid, yeah, very, very solid. And even like at this time, like maybe like this watch is probably like 60, 70 years old, like they were already quite solid movement, like ahead of the competition, like at the time. And I think that's what makes the reputation of Rolex even today. Like, yeah, it's brand, like it's not like not a luxury brand like a Patek or whatever with like nice decoration, but the movement are so robust and so solid. It's a sports watch, yeah. So yeah, what you for sure you can do sport and you can do things and your movement will be fine, yeah, because they are so solid, yeah. And yeah, it started like a long time ago already on these vintage watches. You can see the difference, yeah, and you can feel as well when you work on them. You can feel the difference. Disassembling the keyless work there. Removing the yoke spring here. And that's a yoke. And we have a setting lever which is kept in place with a screw that I unscrew from the other side. And now we can get back the setting lever. And we just have a few parts still on a movement there that we just remove. There we go. With the clutch last. That's it. I think we remove all the parts. Now we're going to take out the jewels. And I love this shock setting there. You see, first I love the shape. Yeah, it's a nice shape and just a tiny bit like a quarter of a turn or even less. And you can open it. There is no way you get like sometimes like some of the shock setting, you know, you can get away like from the slots where they are in, but like these ones are very nice, very easy to operate. Just pegging all the jewels there, just to remove any dried up oil or grease on both sides, obviously. Gonna do the same thing on all the bridges where you have jewels. And I'm placing back this beautiful balance wheel. Again, that's a safe place to keep it during cleaning. Perfect. And I'm going to remove the jewels the same way I've done on the other side, just to make sure the jewels get clean in the machine, in a cleaning machine a bit later on. Should grab it with a bit of Rodico. Actually, it's much easier to grab the jewels with a piece of Rodico than with the tweezer there. I'm making my life a bit more difficult than I should. Oh, yeah, you see just jump there. Just don't want to damage the air spring there, so I'm just going to make it fall. There we go. Like I said, picking all the jewels like on the bridges. This movement is like looking very nice and very sharp for the age. I'm cleaning the pivot point there with a bit of E-Flex. It's like a light polish. Again, just to make sure I remove any dirt. And yeah, the pivot point I fully smooth, yeah. And now I'm gonna disassemble the barrel assembly. Take out the lid there, and there we go. Inside we have the mainspring. I will remove the barrel arbor, which is in the center there of the mainspring. If you want to come, yeah, perfect. And now I'm just gonna take out the mainspring. And you remember it was an issue, like if the mainspring was always winding, and normally on a manual watch you have a hand to the wind, like the mainspring will come to a stop on the barrel there. But for whatever reason, and you can see there, it did not do it. It's because look, this piece is broken, and that's the stop of the mainspring that come on a little hook or little hook inside the barrel. So that's why it was not stopping. So I had to replace the mainspring. I will get a brand new one. It's always good to put a brand new mainspring just to put it back to the full power. And as well, anyway, when it's broken, we'll have to change it. So that's it. I put all the parts in baskets. And these parts will go inside the cleaning machine to be fully clean. Remove any dirt, any dried oil or grease. And that's done in a few steps. First one, I'm gonna do a quick cleaning, and after we'll have 2 steps of rinsing. And I would like to use this opportunity to tell you I have a Patreon page. So if you want to go there and support the channel, that will help me a lot to put better content on the channel and get some equipment. You can find the link of my Patreon page in the description. So I would like to thank Philip, Roger, Matt, Christian, Shelby, Jan, Christian, Corne, Alan, David, Ted, Tony, Michael, Steven, John, Tim, and Gregory. These are my current patrons. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting me. If you want to join the group, you will find a link down below in the description for my Patreon page. You can go there and subscribe to one of the plan, and that will help me a lot to support the channel. So thanks in advance. And as well, if you did not subscribe to the channel, you can go there, click on subscribe button under the video, click on thumbs up if you like the video. That will help to promote the video to other people and share the passion and the love about watchmaking with other people. Okay, so now that the part is clean, before we reassemble the caliber, we're going to focus on the case. I'm going to remove this bezel, which is very nice actually, like a fully machined, like Anton bezel. Like, yeah, it's a very different shape. I really like it. It gives this watch something special. So I'm using this tool, you see, to push and to lift up the bezel. There we go. Now it's lift up. I will finish to remove it with a blade here. The crystal as well is scratched, and we're gonna polish a crystal. And like I said on the poll, like you asked me to do a full restoration of the case and bracelet. So we're gonna start as well to restore the case. First, I remove as much dirt as I can. You see a bit of rust there, but it's not deep. So very easy to remove a bit of piece of pegwood. Removing the old seal, like which is inside the tube. Very dry, you see, very like that's an old one. Gonna remove the tube as well. So use this special tool there to remove. It's actually screwed down inside the case. So when I find the right adapter to remove the tube, I just put it on this tool. And I'm going to unscrew it gently, so that it will be much easier to polish the case, obviously without the tube right in the middle of the face of the case. And I'm gonna do first cleaning in the ultrasonic machine. And actually this ultrasonic machine, I have a 5% discount for you, and a description down below in the video. If you want to buy the same machine, which is working perfectly for watchmaking, I put a link down below, and you get a special code where you can get a 5% discount if you want to buy this nice ultrasonic machine. Okay, so now the part is clean. We're gonna start the polishing. First, we're gonna start with the case. So we do a first step where we have a rough path on the case. We're gonna remove like the scratches, like all the deep scratches on the side, on both sides obviously, and on the top as well of the lugs. For this I use a polishing compound and a special wheel that will remove, like, it will not be a very nice finish, but yeah, it's the first step. Gonna do the same thing on the case back. Gonna polish it, and you see I'm using this special tool there that will make it turn, so that I don't create any flat spot on the case back when I polish it. Gonna polish as well the bezel, just to give it a nice shiny look as well on it. And what I'm going to do now as well, I need to, because it was quite a lot of stretch in the bracelet, so I'm going to disassemble it fully, and you will see on this type of Jubilee bracelet, you have a special tool there to take them apart and redo it and give it like more strength if you want. So first I'm disassembling the clasp here. Gonna polish as well all these parts from the bracelet. See that the pins are quite hard to remove some of them. There we go. Now I'm using a pair of pliers there because yeah, it's quite hard to remove them. That it is coming. There we go. Now we have the clasp which is fully disassembled. And you see I'm using this special tool there to remove each single piece of this Jubilee bracelet. And yeah, that's very long to do on a Jubilee bracelet. So if you want to redo the stretch, it's possible. But yeah, it takes a lot of time. So you will have to take each, you see, remove one piece, remove the parts there, and obviously you will have to keep them as well in the same order because there is a taper on the bracelet, so each parts are different in size. And you see I will have to do this like just one half of the bracelet. Obviously you will have the second half to do, like the second side. And now I'm going much faster, but that's a very long process, and that's just to disassemble the bracelet. Okay, and so now when it's done, I need to remove each pins because that's why they are worn out, and that's where I give you the stretch inside the bracelet. So we put after a brand new one. So you see I'm using a pair of pliers. And again, I need to do this like on each single piece which are the pin inside. And that's just one half of the bracelet. I have to do the same thing on the other side. And after I will have to put it back with brand new pins inside. So yeah, that's quite long to do on a Jubilee bracelet. You can do the same thing as well. It's a different tool, but you can do the same thing on an Oyster bracelet. But yeah, take a lot of time. Okay, so now we are the last step of the case polishing, which is like a finish with a cotton wheel and a compound which is much lighter. So we're gonna do the case and all the different parts from the clasp of the bracelet, polish everything. Go, perfect, like we do like the case back as well. And in each step as well, when you do polishing, all the parts will go in an ultrasonic machine just to remove the polishing compound, which is still left on the parts. And now I'm gonna do the last step, which we're gonna do a special finish. That's what you have on a Rolex. You have a brushed finish on some of the parts. Look, you have the clasp on the bracelet and as well on the case. And for this, I'm gonna protect with some Captain tape. I'm going to protect the polish finish that I want to keep fully shiny. So you see, like for example on the clasp, that would be the edges on the side. That would be the center, like on these links for the bracelet. But I just put it there so that I know it will not get scratched or damaged when we put it under, which is a special wheel. And that's a wheel that will give me this special finish on the clasp and on the bracelet a bit later on the case as well, this satin brush finish. Here we go. Now I'm just doing the link and just gonna do the lugs as well on the case there. With a nice brush finish on top and a shiny finish on the sides. Okay, so now that the case is polished, I'm gonna re-put the tube. Just to make sure it stays in place, we just put a bit of Loctite, some thread Loctite, the green one. Just simply going to screw it back inside the case. Go. And now that the case is done, we're gonna focus on movement that we're gonna reassemble. You remember we put all the parts in a cleaning machine. Now they're fully clean. First, we're gonna start by doing an epillant treatment on some of the parts that will help to retain the oil on the surface a bit better. Just drawing them right now. Removing them from the pivot point here. Removing the epilama because we don't really need it on a pivot point. And there's the jewels. You see, I'm just putting a chaton back on a cap jewels. I'm going to use my automatic oiler just to put a drop of 9010 right in the center here. And I'm closing the spring on top here, these clover shape springs. I really like them. I found them beautiful. Be like a Patek sign as well. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Just oil it and closing the spring. If you want to cooperate there, just make sure the jewel is in the right place. There we go. Just, you see, slide underneath in the groove. And now I can close it. Just checking if the balance, the hairspring is looking good, yeah. Fully flat, fully concentric, yeah, it looks nice. Just oiling, we're going to put the escape wheel there, the jewels. And we're going to put, you remember the mainspring that was broken? So we're going to put a brand new one, and you see they come on this steel ring here. So normally the core side go on top. And I'm just going to press the spring inside the barrel very gently, you see on the edges, until it falls fully into place. Here we go. You see on the side there, it's still not in position. It's going, you see it's moving. Up, here we go. And when it is inside, you can lift the ring. It will not be all in place, the ring will be fully free, you see there. So it means the spring is inside the barrel. Placing back the barrel arbor. Very easy to put it in place, this one. And the lid on top. I'm just going to use this tool to close it. A drop of oil, just to make sure again, like that's what the oil is doing. It will help to reduce friction as well between all the parts which are contact against metal. And yeah, that will make the wash run better as well. It will reduce the friction. Putting the train of wheel in position, and you see the movement, like how shiny it is right now, or the part look nice after cleaning. It looks almost new, like this caliber. When you think it's yeah, almost like 70 years old, like yeah, it's unbelievable. And if you maintain your watch properly, that's why you need to do a proper service on your mechanical watch. If you maintain them properly, like this type of movement will last for hundreds and hundreds of years, I'm sure. They are so solid, they are so robust. Yeah, it just need to be maintained properly once in a while for the parts not to get damaged, because at one point, if they're not maintained, like if the oil fully dry or anything, like the part will start to wear, and that's where it becomes difficult as well to fix the watch, because if you need to change some parts, especially on this very old movements, can be quite tricky to find the parts or to repair the parts. So yeah, it can be quite expensive. So that's why you really need to take care of your vintage watches. Here I'm doing a mistake. I don't know if you spot it, but yeah, you will see a bit later on. That's a mistake that I'm doing right now. Not a very important one, but yeah, you will see. Putting the barrel assembly. Putting the screw there that we'll use later for the setting lever. And I'm putting the plate on top, the bridge. Gonna secure everything with the screws. And again, like I said, this movement from Rolex, I found a nice, like, 12, so as a 12:10 or 12:15 with the date, and after you have the 12:20 and 25, which are, like I said, the last generation of manual wind movement from Rolex. So all this Oyster or Oyster date watch, which are fully manual, I think like there will be future classic watches, because they hold a very special place in the history of Rolex, being like the last manual mass-produced watches from Rolex. Very special, very nice to wear as well. And like I said, I found it something very special with manual watches, like a special interaction that you have to do with your watch compared to automatic watch. An automatic watch is very simple. You can leave it on a winder and you will never have to wind your watch once in your lifetime. So but on a manual watch, you have to do it. If you love watches, you don't have manual wind watch, you have to get one. It's very nice, and it's a very special relation that you have in your watch compared to an automatic watch. Putting the click spring in position here. So that what will make like this part, the click or the noise when you wind your watch. And the function is like, it will stop your watch from being unwind. If you want, it will stop the wheel in one direction with the spring. That's this wheel there, the ratchet wheel. Putting in place with this big screw, that's generally the biggest screw on a watch. That's the one on top of the ratchet wheel. And I'm gonna oil each single joules of this movement from the train of wheel. Going to do the same thing on the dial side here. That barrel arbor from the mainspring assembly. And I'm gonna assemble the keyless work. So the purpose of the keyless work, like I said many times, is just to, it's the function, like the brain of the watch. That's because the only interaction that you have with your watch, especially a manual one, is this crown. And all the information I'm gonna transmit through the crown go through this keyless work. And on this watch, you have two functions. You have the winding function, and if you pull on a crown, you can set the time. You can change move the hour and the minute hands, and that's what this part of the watch, the dial side, is doing. The keyless work is all the mechanism that will allow you to switch between winding and time setting position. So I'm gonna put like the rest of the watch, like for example this yoke there that comes through the middle of the clutch with a spring. So we put the tension on this part of the mechanism. And you see I'm using this blue grease there because that's a lot of parts I see tension between, so the friction is higher with the tension that's put between the parts. Cannon pinion, the minute wheel now, and the setting lever, that's the last parts that go on this mechanism. The setting lever spring, that's actually a spring. This long arm that you have underneath is acting as a spring, and that will give the tension when you pull on a crown in a different position. So I am using like the grease there on the end of the spring, and you see there now, and if I pull on it, that you have the second position where you see like the cannon pinion and the minute wheel moving. And you see like that's working perfectly. Okay, so now we're gonna put the palette fork on the balance side, and that's always the moment of truth. That's where we are getting to the interesting bits. We're gonna put the palette fork first, and you see now I'm trying to align it to the jewel, but that's not easy. Make the pivot point in the jewel, done it on the bottom. Now I need to do it on the top. So you see I'm gonna gently press on it, make the palette fork move until the pivot point fall into the jewels? Not yet. Yes. You see, went down, and the jewels, you see the pivot point in the middle of the jewels. And I can secure it with a screw. Put a bit of a wind in the watch. Now we put the palette fork. And you see it clicking. Click, click, click. So yeah, the power is coming to the palette fork. And now, as always, see if the movement is going to start. Nicely put it in position there. The balance. Up, up, up. Yes, perfect. It's not fully in position yet, but it's just started. Press it down. Secure it with a screw. And we have a runner. Yeah, that's nice. We have a very nice movement running. Manual wind movement from Rolex. And now we just have a few parts with this second on the wheel on the top there. Love to see how it works. It's a bit like a chronograph. It's nice to have these wheels on top with this small pinion for the second. And you see there I put a screw, and actually that's not a screw that's going there, because you need to put this spring on top that will keep the tension. You will keep a tiny bit of friction inside the second hand pinion, and for that's the second hand pinion, like the second hand will be smooth, or else he will jump. He can jump a tiny bit, but with a tiny bit of friction, he will make sure he gets a smooth beating of the second hand. So that's it. I need to make sure, there we go, like the spring is on top of this pinion there. And now I'm just gonna press this wheel to make sure it's at the same height as the second pinion, and you can see there, yeah, that looks good. It's perfectly in the middle. Putting the hour wheel in position. Again, look at it looks so nice, this caliber, so clean. Light polish on the hand, because I want this watch, again, that will be on my website, it will be for sale, so I want it to look good. We polish a case, so here we go, gentle polish on the hands to make them as shiny as possible, keeping the original lume, the patina on this lume. And the hand looks quite good actually, yeah. Did a gentle polish as well on the hour markers of the dial and the Rolex sign on top, and it looks so shiny. You see, like they shine with the light. I love the dial from Rolex. I don't think they give enough credit to the dial. The sunburst, like the colors on some of them, they are so nice. Pressing down the hour hand, sorry. Now just putting the minute hand. Again, align it to midnight, and I'm gonna press it in position there. Just checking the alignment. Yeah, you see, 3 o'clock, yeah, the alignment looks good. And I'm gonna put the second hand in position. And I think we are done with the hands. So now we're gonna move on the bracelet. So I reassemble the bracelet now with like brand new pins to remove like the hang, if you want, a bit like on a bracelet. And I'm just gonna do it like I done it on a case, several steps. I do it in 3 steps. 1 step to remove the scratches, 1 intermediate step, that's this one with a blue compound, and now we do the last one with a green compound and a cotton wheel, just to make sure we have a very nice shiny surface on the bracelets. And like we have done on the case as well, there is a brush finish on the bracelet, so we're gonna put now I'm polishing the crystal actually, again to remove the scratches from the crystal and keeping the original crystal. And there I'm gonna do a satin finish on the bracelet, like it's done on the case, like it was done originally as well on his watches, with the center links of this juge billet that will stay very shiny, and the sides will be satin color. Just pressing back the bezel with the newly polished crystal. Using again a custom tool from Eurotech, Carbon Edition. Putting brand new seals just to make sure that the watch stay watertight, it doesn't get damaged. So there is one that go in a tube. This is a twin lock mechanism, and not a triple like you have on most recent Rolex watches. You will have the one on case back, a big seal. I go on a case back here. Just gonna remove the crown here from the movement. Can put the movement back in the case. Look at the case with these nicely brushed lugs. Looks so nice. Remove the old seals and you see this one is fully dried inside the crown. So I say a twin lock, you will have one seal inside the tube and one seal inside the crown. On a triple lock, you will have two seals inside the tube. That's on a newer, if you want, Rolex. And you have an easy way to find if it's a twin lock or triple lock by looking at the crown. You will have a different sign on the crown of your Rolex. Here we go now, putting a brand new seal inside. Putting the spacer ring to keep the movement nice and centered. Putting back the crown. There we go. Just gonna screw it to make sure it stays fully in position. And we have two clamps there on each side of the movement. Again, just to make sure the movement is fully pushing down, that doesn't move inside the case. So that's done by this clamp and the screws. Again, that's very different compared. I like the system on modern Rolex, where you have the screws that you need to screw to remove the movement and make it a quarter of a turn to take it out of the case. This one is much more standard if you want. And now just put back the case back. That was fully polished chassis as well. You see, like very shiny. And I'm going to close it again on this special tool from Eurotech. And the watch will be fully tight, fully sealed, no risk of water damage. Okay, I'm going to demagnetize the watch. And before we put it on a timegrapher, I just would like to tell you that I have my own website, so you can find the link down below in the description. You can find some history on the channel. And as well, you can find some of the watch that for sale. And actually, this Rolex will be for sale in a short while on this website. And as well, I proposed my service to service your watch. So you can go there and contact me if you want me to service your Rolex or any other brand, actually. So you can find the link of the website down below in the description. And you see there's a result, 350 in amplitude. That's very good, very high. And a lot of people ask me, yeah, but you test it only in one position. But look now, I'm putting on sideways. You see like the amplitude drop down a bit, that's normal. But you see the rate is just below 4 seconds. If I put it crown up, you see there it's just below like 0 again. The amplitude is just around 300. And I put it last position would be a dial down position. You see what kind of result we are getting. We should see the amplitude going back up again. Just accelerating a bit. You see there the amplitude went back up to 340 and it's running right around 0. So yeah, that's perfect for a watch which is 70 years old. It's running very well. And look at the state of the bracelet. Look how nice it looks, this bracelet. With shine in the middle, satin finish on the side, and the case as well is fully polished. So I hope you like this restoration, and I see you next time for my next project. Bye bye.